Hello, this is Luboš Kocman from the OpenSUSE release team, and in this video I would like to show you how to deploy the prototype of Adaptable Linux Platform, but in this case we will be actually using the fully encrypted image. So, what are the options? Basically, as mentioned, image is fully encrypted. You can either choose passphrase, or we have also TPM chip integration where you can basically skip the passphrase, and then the encryption is decryption of the drive is basically tied to the machine that you are using, or in this case when we are actually using word manager emulated TPM device. If you remove it, then game over, you can't decrypt the image anymore. So let's have a look. I have to admit that for the TPM integration, I will wait for the demo uploaded by Frederick, because he already showed it internally at the company, and he's the best person to explain the logic behind. So in my demo, I will only use the passphrase. So we will basically, after deployment, re-encrypt the image. Steps are the same. Again, sorry for jumping in. You have to go to SUSE ALP project, click on repositories, images, and in the first demo we were using this unencrypted image. In this case we will be using the encrypted image. I've already downloaded it, so I will just import it. If you would be interested in the TPM integration, we have a prototype here done by Olaf, where you basically need to, again, this needs to happen in VM. You check out his repository, install -kiwi from, as he mentions, from home Olaf Kjær FDE project. This is in OBS, so that would be project show home. I already have it in the history. Again, repositories, you would add one of these repositories. If you are running Leap, for example, you would add this repo, fetch the images, or you can maybe even upgrade the RPMs from his repository. Important is the -kiwi. You also will need to have shim and a few other packages that he has built. Follow his instructions, and then in the firstboot, choose firstboot, you will actually see TPM as one of the possible options for the FDE or full disk encryption. Full disk encryption will be basically enabled by default on all of the Intel machines, because this is where we expect TPM chips. On the other arches, we don't have TPM chips on ARM, for example, so there the integration with TPM is not an option. So let's start. Post local, encrypted. I will use again SUSE Linux Enterprise 15, for example. I will use 2 gigs of memory. Maybe I should kill the non-encrypted image. I will call this ALP-encrypted. If you would be using the instructions from Olaf, I recommend you to, you would have to customize it and add TPM chip here, otherwise, emulate it, otherwise you would not be able to test the feature. Good, begin installation, but I believe in his case you would not be actually configuring the VM manually, because he has a quite nice wrapper which would run in stuff, which would actually create the VM for you. So the default password, which you can check here directly in the, he has the ALP as well. Okay, so in the kiwi file you can check that this is 1234. So I'm entering 1234. We are decrypting. That's the default passphrase. The choose firstboot will actually take you to the step where you will re-encrypt disk with the passphrase or TPM chip, your choice. So Adaptable Linux Platform. That's basically the only difference in the firstboot wizard here. Again, also mentioned in the first video, the prototype, the very first prototype, which this is the case, doesn't have a fully fledged installer. We expect the installer to be the installer used for ALP. At least this is what the current development suggests. And that will come in one of the later prototypes. The prototypes are supposed to be released every 3 months. So now we have the September one, and you would expect one around Christmas, and then, you know, somewhere in May, until we make it to the product launch in fall next year. Again, I will use default just like in the first demo. Test here. So if you would have the if you would follow steps from Olaf, you would actually have an option for TPM here. I don't have that option, so I will just use passphrase. So the new one, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. And this will take us to re-encrypting the disk and then login. And that's basically all. So let's wait for encryption to finish. As mentioned, the TPM availability is, to my knowledge, only on Intel. So this is where you can use the feature. I expect that the prototype has currently in scope only on Intel, so I'm not sure how it will be on ARM, but I would expect that we will not have the full disk encryption by default. It will be either optional or it won't be available. I would expect that it will be optional. On Intel, you can choose not to use it, but default is actually, I expect that productized default will be fully encrypted with TPM support where it makes sense. So root, test, and we are done. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure to check all the other videos about deploying workloads. Thank you very much.